Hey guys, it's TheFrXion here, Tag12. However you call me, I don't really care, and welcome back to World Tanks. Today we are playing the T54 Lightweight. I thought, why not just jump into a game once more, check out a vehicle that I've actually never made a video of, and talk a little bit about it, and maybe also address the fact of the premium changes and some other changes that have come in the patch 1.5. Excuse me, and well, I just swallowed something. What? And we can also talk a little bit about scouting in World Tanks and what I think of, basically the most important job of all of them in the game. So we're looking at the T54 Lightweight. This is the Tier 9 Soviet medium tank, light tank, excuse me. It looks like a medium tank. That comes after the L2TB. It used to be a Tier 8 light tank, the highest tier, and it was back then very powerful, and it is right now still very powerful. It leads to the T100 light tank, probably the best Tier 10 light tank in the game, probably the best tier light tank at all, and yeah, people are quite fond of this vehicle and the T54 Lightweight as well. So having this vehicle based upon the medium tank, it is kind of interesting to see where they did cut off a bit of the weight and make it more of a light vehicle. Well, basically you're losing a bit of the hull armor that the T54 does have. It does lose a bit of weight, a bit of HP, and the gun is not the same gun that you have on the T54. It still is a very interesting gun. It still is a 100mm gun, but it does not have the same penetration, but it does still have the same damage output, well, a bit less than the T54, since the medium tank does have, I think, 320 alpha damage compared to the 250 that we have here. But it is an excellent scout. You can see we have everything set up for passive and active scouting, and the crew is also not too bad, except for Mladší Sergeant Zurab Ordinetsev. Yeah, he's kind of shit, but all the other female crew members in the vehicle are quite good trained for this vehicle. So to be fair, I've played a couple of games. I have a 60% win rate. My statistics aren't too grand in this vehicle because I like to play my vehicles as a passive scout, and this is more of a scout that does do very well as an active scout. But yeah, because it screams T54 and you do bounce some shells, especially on the turret, from equal tier opponents or lower tier opponents, it still is light tank, and that is something you have to keep in mind. So when I'm playing this vehicle, I kind of get a bit too cocky with it, and I do get a bit too aggressive. So moving on, let's take a look at the changes for the premium account. Now, I have noticed something when I was playing this game, like the last couple of days now. First of all, locking certain maps from playing them is actually a quite interesting feature. I haven't used it that as much, but when we're playing a light tank, we obviously don't want to go into those city maps that are very, very closed. So we don't want to have Ensk, we don't want to have Himmelsberg, or what is it, Himmelsdorf, and yeah, so it's pretty nice to get these locked. Now, what I've noticed with the missions that they're putting in out there, like the premium missions are basically always the same. You're always getting the win a battle, 50,000 credits additionally, be in the top 5 for damage done, or damage cost right there, and the 25 bonds that you can get for destroying 5 vehicles in a single game. Now, I think those missions would have been nice if they would change them from day to day or like week to week, but right now it seems to be the same. Other than that, the biggest change for me is the manageable bonus to experience. What I've noticed is when I'm playing stock vehicles now, for example, I am playing the let me see real fast, the 53 TP, and I'm playing the vehicle and I want to get the 122mm gun. you know, I play a couple of games, I win maybe 2 or 3 games, and I can use like the bonus, the added experience on top of that times 3, and I get to the second gun a lot faster. It kind of is a luxury thing, and it 5 times you kind of use it up quite quickly, but it really does help you if you're playing a vehicle that you really don't like. And I've noticed that when I'm trying to get through a tank as well, for example the P44 Pantera, I've used it like 3-4 times and I've gained like 20,000 experience quite quickly, so it's not too bad. I think it's a nice addition, and the vault also is pretty nice. I mean, it gives you like max 750 grand credits additionally per week if you do play that much. I think it's nice, but I don't see the reason why they put it into a vault. Why didn't they just give the added 10% onto your account? I don't understand that, but you know, it's wargaming, and showing off with this reserve stock, with this vault, you can see how much you gain additionally. And I think that's just the main representation, that you see that the 10% are there, and that they're not just talking about it, because I don't think people will notice it when they're playing the game, because 10%, it still is 10%, yes, but in the game you will not notice it as quickly. So I'd say without further ado, we're going to jump into a game now with the T54 Lightweight, and we're going to see how well we can actually fare with this vehicle. It's yeah, it's a very good vehicle in its role, but there are certainly other light tanks that are a bit faster, and that's what I've noticed with this vehicle. You will get into positions quite easily, but if there is some French tank rolling around, you're going to have a bit of a hard time. But that's just what you have to be careful of. So let's see that we get into a match, and then we can have some fun. So yeah, I'm playing on the North American server. It is quite early over here, so it must be very early in the United States. But I've noticed that the player base, I mean, it has been shrinking on basically every server, but I think that they have kind of retained quite a few players, or gotten some players back to play the game again because of the couple of changes that they've released. I think the tier 10 medium tank changes and the changes on the type 4 and type 5 heavy have certainly kind of gained a little bit of interest in the community, at least as far as I'm concerned, or as far as I've noticed. And yeah, that's quite interesting. We need the players, and wargaming just need to find a way to keep the crowd around that you know, want to play more of the same, and also get new players into the game. But it does really take quite a while now. Already over 2 minutes sitting in queue, but we're going to see. Finally, and we're playing on Abby. And this is a really interesting matchup. Oh my god, they're like 3 artillery on each team, 4 scouts on each team, 2 tank destroyers, and a couple of medium tanks. This is going to be quite interesting. The battle for the middle, the Abbey, is going to be lit. We're going to be taking part in that, definitely. Hopefully we're going to get some support. I'm not sure if they're sending their mediums up there. Light tanks will probably be interested in going into the Abbey. Gives you quite a bit of you know, flexibility when you go up here. And you know what, we're just going to go right up here. Ignore the EBR. There we go. Now get into a spot where we are covered from... Okay, EBR manages to put one more into us without penetrating the vehicle. But yeah, we control the middle part now. We do have a Rheinmetall Panzerwagen over here on the 8-9 line, and we have absolutely no one on the 1-2 line, which is quite problematic if you are trying to play this map, because no one is playing a heavy tank, and you know, you see when you have no heavy tanks, tank destroyers, light tanks, and medium tanks, some other classes will need to take over the responsibility of playing, you know, breaching vehicle in that sense. It's going to be quite awkward. So unfortunately, we're playing on a map with a very unusual kind of matchup that basically has to do with the left players. They're currently searching for matches in the game, and what ended up happening right here is just that we're playing a very awkward kind of a scenario where which usually doesn't happen, and where we can't really use the strengths of this vehicle to our advantage, especially on this map, since it's basically the middle and the two alleyways. You can see we're just pushing the 8 and 9 line right now. Hopefully that's going to work out. They're going to be pushing the 1-2 line, just mirroring us. And that's like, this is one of the old school World Tanks maps, you know, with the 3 alleyways, the middle part, and it's a very proven concept. And basically it has to do with the fact that it has to be balanced for both sides. So, you know, making a map kind of spectacularly different from this layout is going to be very difficult, because obviously the balance is the most important part of this game. If you don't have any balance, people don't want to play this. And yeah, you can totally understand it. So there's the Object 430U that is going to be overhauled, probably a lot, and it needs to be a very powerful vehicle that at tier 10 can bully other tier 10s. Yeah, this is very awkward at the moment. We have to have someone spotting their base, because we have like 4 guys over there just waiting for something to happen. At the same time, we have to defend our base, so we're kind of in an awkward position right now. There's the TVP. We just got spotted because we reached the part right here. There's WZ. You can see they're quite aggressive on the 1-2 line. They have to be, like, there's... Foch, I need your help. Foch, I need your help. And we just have to retain control of this part of the map now. This is just very important that we stay here and that I survive this TVP. Oh my god, I just survived the TVP, thanks to the Foch. And we were just very lucky. This TVP didn't have any other interest instead of the T54. That was us. But what you were able to see right there in that second is that the T54 might have a lucky bounce against someone as that. And that mainly has to do with the fact that this vehicle actually does have some sort of armor. It's better armored than some medium tanks. But unfortunately, this game is not very interesting for the viewer, to be fair, because it's a very awkward matchup. But that kind of does, you know, distinguish a good player from maybe an average player. He knows how to adapt to certain situations, and that is always very difficult in such matches. So you know what, we know that there are quite a few people over here. We're going to get into this little town here. We're probably going to get lit, but we have to find this object 430U. We have to find some of the other guys. There's the EVR, and they're probably all falling back now. Maybe they have the object 430U on the defensive. Yeah, exactly, that's what I thought. But he was just going to be staying here in the back, you know, defending and just being a little bit of a pain in the ass. But it looks like we're not capping this out. It just became a very interesting game once more. And what we have to do right now is actually we're going to close the distance because if we want to be effective at giving our team a little bit of scouting edge, we're actually going to die right here to the WZ-120 if we're unlucky. Oh god. We can't actually hit him at this position that we are in. He can actually deal quite a bit of damage to us, but we do spot him to get the 4 HP worth of assisted damage, and it looks like this is going to be a win. And you can see the main objective of the light tank has not been actually has not been the focus in this matchup, because we basically just dealt damage and only spotted about 4 HP of assisted damage. Yeah, this was a very awkward game for the T54 Lightweight. That's just how World of Tanks sometimes plays. That's just what you have to get used to eventually from time to time. And that's something you notice when you're actually playing the game. You can see we got 2,000 base experience. No, not base experience, 2,000 experience. And now we can actually utilize, you know, ×3 booster. I'm gonna use it real fast to show you guys how it works. So we get 5,000 experience, and you can see right there that 5,000 experience. That's quite a lot for this one win. But to be fair, if we would have gotten a better result, it would have been even better. So yeah, it was kind of a waste, but I just want to show you guys how it works. If you don't run premium, I think a lot of you guys probably already are running premium, so that's why I actually did extend my time of premium. I did have a lot of golds in reserve, and I did extend it to an additional year. Which is rather nice to give me the benefits of the World of Tanks premium, and if I want to play World of Warships, maybe throughout the year, I still have the standard premium that is on every other wargaming game, or at least in the wargaming World of Tanks, World of Stuff series. Maybe they're bringing out a World of Warcraft clone. Probably they already have, but I don't know. So we're just basically waiting right now for an additional match, and I'm probably just going to skip this part and I'll cut right over to the gameplay as soon as we get into the match. We finally made it after an additional 3 seconds of waiting after I turned off the recording device. We're in a match, and again, a lot of light tanks, so it's going to be quite difficult to actually do the spawning by yourself. But this time around, more heavy tanks than medium tanks. And we're on a more open map. We're playing on Overlord, and this time around, a large portion of the map is basically unplayable because it's beach. And the beach is the last place you want to be at on this map, especially in a light tank. Although you do have decent, good view range, you're just going to be out there without any real cover except for some boats. But I wouldn't go to the beach unless you absolutely have to. So we do manage to spot the Type 5 Heavy over there as well. The EVR 90 and maybe even the WZ. But our bad chat is actually being very aggressive right now. He decided to go into the bowl, and he did take quite a lot of damage for that bold move. And this EBR is taking him apart. That's just, yeah, that's something you don't want to do in a medium tank as the bad chat. Be the very first one to get engaged and die. We have 3 heavy tanks at the beach. And okay, there we go. My zoom was a bit too large. Yeah, there's a bit of there's a bit of a fight going on in the chat. The bad chat is unhappy with the amount of vehicles that we've actually taken out of the match. And our Udas 16 did remind him very kindly, so that we actually, he was the one vehicle that actually went out. And yeah, very awkward, but yeah, that was not a brave or a good move by the bad chat. You can see we actually have a very crazy beach fight. Both teams selected to send quite a few vehicles down to the beach. And up here, there are only 1 or 2 vehicles holding the eastern part or the western part of the map, depending on how you watch, how you look at it. The 8-9 line. This time around, since this vehicle is rather, you know, thick and strong, to be fair, we probably don't want to be the one breaching, but if we would have to do such a thing, I would much rather at tier 9 do it with a T54 Lightweight instead of with, you know, other vehicles such as the AMAX 1390 or stuff like that. So what we're doing here is, yeah, I'm not sure if we're spotting the tortoise. We're probably not. We do have a shot at him. We are right now spotting the Udas over there, and we're spotting that guy. And we're going to get spotted in a second if he actually does crest the ridgeline. Doesn't do it at our side, but is he going to be a bold guy, and is he going to engage? No, he's not. We get tracked. I thought he was going to engage the Udas 16. I'm going to be playing this a little bit more passive since my team is sitting in the back, and I'm not really looking for a lot of HP loss in the early stages of the match. It's not something I want to deal with. There goes the WZ, the Udas is in the back. He's going to be able to hit us with his very good gun depression. Our T49 just goes in, YOLOs, and we get the chance to knock out the EBR. And we use the T49 as bait, basically. That's exactly what happened right there. But I do not see the logic behind, you know, moving in as aggressively as that T49 did with that very limited amount of HP that he had. and we just bounced the STRV 103, and once again, this vehicle is a lot better armored than most of the light tanks, and now we have a very good position where you can actually engage these guys and be much more offensive, offensively minded here in that part of the map, because we waited, we had a little bit of patience, and now we're going to drive a little bit and be a bit more of an active scout, be a bit of a pain in the ass for this tortoise, so that he has to actually turn his vehicle completely around. This will give us a bit of a chance to, you know, give our team a bit of an advantage in manpower, and actually gain some important damage that we need as well. So right here, 208 millimeters of pen. I mean, you do fire APCR if you're on their side, if you're on the rear. This vehicle is going to be doing quite well. And, you know, since you have the mobility, since you have the additional little part of armor that most of the vehicles don't have, at the same time. And, so we're just going to bully this guy right here. The STRV, what do you want to do in such a situation where you're all by yourself and you're getting surrounded by several medium tanks? It's one of the reasons why I don't like the STRV. It's very defensive minded and just doesn't have the nice edge to it that most of the medium tanks have, or, you know, light tanks have. You're much more flexible with a medium tank or a light tank than you are with an STRV. So there is the 60GP. Hopefully we're going to get a track shot on him. We track him, and hopefully he doesn't repair it, so we can get some nice assistance damage. Don't finish him off. Don't want to get hit. He's going to do about 800 damage or more if we're unlucky. And there we go. There we go. Got the GG, we got the win. And we have an M48 who is trying to do a mission. And yeah, it usually doesn't work when you're saying something into the chat and the people are just blood hungry. And yeah, it doesn't work most of the time. Right there you can see. Yeah, that was a much better game. 4,518 experience. I don't know why it's so much experience. It's because the experience coefficient times 3. I think base experience was about 1,000, so not too bad. And then we're going to add another one on top of it, and we get 7,530 experience for that match. And you can see it really does make a difference. 36,000, and you know, we were at something along the lines of 20,000 when we started, so that's maybe 16,000 in 2 matches. That is absolutely not too bad. I think it was 13 or 14,000, but it's very, very nice to have this additional, you know, manageable bonus to experience, and it does make the game less frustrating, and that's what I've been asking for a while. But the thing is, it's just for premium users, so it's pay to win. Or at least it's not pay to win, but people who actually do pay money now for the game are going to have an even bigger edge to the people who don't spend money. So the premium time, it's something that I would recommend to people who play a lot, who have a lot of time, and you know, the multipliers times 3. You know, using this 5 times a day. If you just play like 2 or 3 days. You know, per every 2 weeks or something like that, you're still going to get a lot more experience a lot faster than you would have, you know, by playing like the game every couple of days and then just 2 or 3 games, and you still have to win. But other than that, if you do get a win and your win is somehow okay, decent, you're going to be looking quite decent. You're going to have quite a bit of experience that you can get. So I hope you guys did enjoy this little video. I know it was a bit longer than intended. I actually wanted just one game as a showcase, but you know what? Doesn't matter. The second game was a lot better. It shows you the full capabilities that this vehicle does have, and when you know when to engage and when to disengage. It's very important when you're playing a light tank. We need to know when to be passive, when to be active, because if you don't know when to be a passive scout, when to be an active scout, you're going to be losing your matches very early on, because the team is going to be depending on you much more than they would on heavy tanks. You know, visibility and eyes are much more important to an army than you know, having an additional tank to the 30 other tanks that you already have in your armored company. But if you don't have any eyes, you don't know what the enemy is going to be doing. So yeah, scouts, reconnaissance, very important. That's also my branch of the military. Keep that in mind. Reconnaissance is very, very important. So I hope you guys did enjoy it. If you did, as always, comment, like, subscribe, and I'll see you guys on the next one.